السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We'll continue inshallah ta'ala with كتاب فضل الإسلام, the virtue and the superiority of the deen of Islam, by Imam Muhammad ibn Wahab rahimahullah. This is where we stopped in the chapter باب قوله تعالى ومن يبتغي غير الإسلام دينا فلن يقبل منه. باب قوله تعالى ومن يبتغي غير الإسلام دينا فلا يقبل منه وفي الآخرة من الخاسرين. And this chapter, ومن يبتغي غير الإسلام دينا فلا يقبل منه, whoever takes other than the deen of Islam as a religion, it's not going to be accepted from him. It's not going to be accepted from him, and he is among the khasirin. He's among the losers in the day of judgment. And this shows that the deen of Allah, al-Islam, is the religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose for humanity to follow. The deen of Adam and Nuh and Ibrahim and Musa and Isa and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all of the prophets of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them with the deen of al-Islam. But what is meant here, the final message to the final messenger of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is where all of the people, they ought to follow the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Because the chapter of, or the subject of wujub al-Islam, the obligation of the deen of al-Islam, to make it very clear that it's not something that people can be upon whatever religion that they want to be upon after it's been distorted and changed, and that will be accepted from them in the day of judgment. No. Once the religion of Islam has been made clear to them, the message of the Prophet ﷺ, they ought to follow the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. It won't be accepted from him, whoever takes other than the deen of Islam. And this includes basically two groups of people. The first group is the non-Muslims, those who follow whatever religions. Once the Prophet ﷺ was sent and the message reached them, so whoever wants to say, well, I will continue to be on my religion, Judaism, Christianity, being Zoroaster, whatever religion there is, this is not going to be accepted from him in the day of judgment. And the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ clearly, وَالَّذِي نَفْسُ مُحَمَّدٍ بِيَدِهِ, by the one that the soul of Muhammad is in his hands, swearing by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَا يَسْمَعُ بِي أَحَدٌ مِنْ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ, none of this ummah, and the ummah here refers to the people, all of the people, since the time of the Prophet ﷺ, from the time of the Prophet ﷺ till the day of judgment. Yahudi wala Nasrani, Jewish or Christian, ثم يموت ولم يؤمن بالذي أرسلت به, and then he dies and he did not believe in what I have been sent with, إلا كان من أصحاب النار, unless he was from among the people of the hellfire. So once the Prophet ﷺ was sent, every religion, every way of life is falsehood, becomes batil, except the way of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which was the way of the messengers before. And everyone has to follow the religion of Islam once that message reaches them. So this is the first group. The second group, which is basically from the Muslimin of this ummah, but they didn't take the religion of Islam the way it came according to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. But they introduced things into the deen of Islam, and they made bid'ah, innovations in the deen, deviations. They made it religion. They made it something that the people have to follow, and becomes to them, this is al-Islam, and anything else is falsehood to them. They are also included in this ayah, right? It means it can also affect those who are Muslims. They, even if it their bid'ah or their innovation did not take them outside the fold of Islam, but their actions, or the actions of innovations in the deen, and their deviation is not going to be accepted from them. And this is also the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, "Man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu fahuwa radd." Whoever introduced in this matter of ours that is not part of it, it's going to be rejected. So the same thing, فَلَا يُقْبَلَ مِنْ. So their ibadah, that it's done not according to the deen of Islam, not according to the way of the Prophet ﷺ, is not going to be accepted from them. So this is another important subject that a person has to be aware of, because the acceptance of the deed has to be sincerely done for the sake of Allah, without shirk, and the person has to follow the deen of Islam. And the deen of Islam means the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And the ayah says, وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And that person would be among the losers in the Day of Judgment. And the loss in the Day of Judgment is two types of loss. The ultimate loss, the absolute loss, which is to be in hellfire forever, that is for the disbelievers. And there is levels of loss. There is less than that for those who died in the state of Islam, but they had, whether it's sins or innovations in the deen or dalalat, either Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive, or they will be punished, and then eventually they will enter the Jannah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.